Mr. Cooks in the house. How's it going, buddy?
Hey Wally, how you bro? Feels
I'm
like
good. I'm
we've
good.
had feels like we've abandoned you the last couple of podcasts with all the rugby chat that's been happening the last two podcasts you've had.
Yeah. When you guys asked for that second rugby podcast, I was almost thinking maybe you guys trying to send me a message.
You just started thinking it was a little bit personal, like maybe it's
Yeah, I was like, fuck,
ma-
these oaks are just gonna do rugby for the rest of the year now.
obviously now, unfortunately for you the soccer is almost done basically. So now it's almost like rugby time. So this could be the last time I see you again for a while.
Yeah. I think I'm gonna have to sharpen my rugby skills or my rugby knowledge a little bit in the
Yeah.
in the football season or the football off season.
I think I must come down to Cape Town and me and Bucky's can give you like a little tutorial for over a weekend and just make sure just sit you down and watch all the rugby games.
Yeah. Well, the other problem that I have now, as always, we're back at hockey now. So and the I don't know what happened. We used to have a DSTV at the club, but now we don't. So whenever I'm at the club, I miss a lot of, especially the rugby is usually on the
Mm,
Saturday, more or less those type of times.
yeah,
So we'll have to see. Otherwise, how's things your side? Your school rugby is fucking closed now, eh?
yeah, but it's frustrating on this side. You know, I mean, obviously we hey Juliet,
Thanks, Jillian.
yeah.
I'm gonna do my best.
Yeah, it's frustrating on this side. You know, obviously we did get going, so that was great for one weekend, and then yeah, and then you get shut down. So obviously it's a bit frustrating, especially for the kids. You know, I mean, you get with the
Yeah.
momentum, and now unfortunately poor them, we're gonna go back into almost preseason mode again. So that's the frustrating part. But yes, we like the kids'
Yeah,
faces
because
when we
they've
told
they've
them
been
like,
training so hard now. And then what did you guys have? One game, two games.
yeah, we had one game. That's the unfortunate part. I mean, like we trained, and then obviously with us being a private school, we had different holidays. So when we were off the most of April, so we were planning to play catch up. So you got to the one game, and then play one game, and then that was it. Play the Saturday, and then Wednesday, and next Wednesday it was got canned.
Fuck, that's cock, eh?
Yeah, it's bleak. No,
That's
it's
really
bleak.
bad. And apparently it was mostly up in Joburg where there were issues with outbreaks and that.
Yeah, that's the tough part. I mean, I think we in Eastern Cape, we get it bad regardless. I mean, last year we were a hotspot, so we have no beaches. This time we're in a hotspot, but we still get punished anyway. So
Yeah.
it's tough going here in the Eastern Cape at the moment. But how you been, bud?
No, I'm good. I'm good. I'm happy that we still got hockey at least at club level. Um, but it's also interesting now because now what we've seen already, just like a week later, um, the a lot of the kids are now, asking about joining the club. Um, so we're going like, what's the point in that? Because now they're playing anyway.
Yeah, 100%. And also like so the things like when the kids, it's like a loophole. I mean, like they go, let me join a club, and then too many kids join a club, and then club sports kids can. So it's I don't know. It's
Yeah,
like it feels like an endless circle. But I mean, yeah, just obviously hoping that it changes soon. I mean, yeah, I mean, I think I've been playing more hockey than rugby these days because our club hockey the side has been going well. It's been going on as well.
yeah. So you still playing the hockey as well there, eh?
Yeah, still playing hockey.
Lekker, lekker. So just so that everyone knows, oh, here's Arnold now. I'll add in. What's up, Arnold? Uh, seems to be having some trouble. So just so everyone knows, we were supposed to be joined by Keegan, um, but Keegan's decided that drinking on a public holiday is more important than the podcast. Yo,
What's up, guys?
how's it
Oh,
going?
jeez. Oh, is this
Look
how
at
it's
this guy,
starting?
eh? Fucking hell. When when did you guys win the league? Because I must have missed that.
I
The
think my
the way
camera
all
downs came or something.
the way you guys, the Liverpool fans are going on, you'd swear you guys won the league. Are you there, Arnold? Can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you guys. Cooks, what's up?
Uh,
Ryan, what's
Hey
up? Where's
Arnold, how are
Keegan?
you?
I'm good, guys. How you doing?
Good, thanks.
good, good.
Keegan ran away from you. Netherlands has changed him.
Yeah. Keegan said he can't join us today, Arnold, because he's busy drinking at. They've got a public holiday, so he was invited out, and he decided to ditch us.
I thought it would be like coaching hockey or some stuff.
Apparently, drinking's more important. Look, they haven't been able to go to bars and stuff for a while now, so I think he's catching up now.
Ah, what's good,
How's
Ryan?
it?
Did you watch the games UFC over the weekend?
I actually missed all the UFC this weekend. I know Bucky's was telling me a little bit about it yesterday. I missed that. I only managed to catch the football and the Formula One.
Man, as a Ferrari fan, I don't want to talk about Formula One. Like,
Dude. Well,
uh,
we might as well get into that off the bat. I think I'm sure Cook saw my tweet on over the weekend
Yeah,
with what was it, free practice 2 when
yeah.
Ferrari got the 1-2. I was like, surely they can't be, and then turns out it wasn't to be.
The thing is, like with Ferrari, I think I sent a tweet on Saturday when Leclerc won got pole position. I said, please, Ferrari, like this weekend, please don't play with my heart. Like don't dangle this in front of me and take it. Like just like I was happy with us, qualifying fourth, fifth as you have been, in coming in the top, and like I think our car and our drivers have shown potential, but obviously our cars are quick enough, and then like we qualify P1. I'm thinking, yes, this is it. And the worst part is I was on the golf course, and then I was rushing back to get home on time, and I see the news like Leclerc when we starting the race, and I was like, I'm done with this race. Like I don't even want to watch anymore. Like like Ferrari is hurting me, but then like Carlos Sainz comes second, so you're like, on one hand, I'm really happy for Carlos Sainz. In fact, we actually got a pole position, but I'm like, we could have the 1-2. Like that's my
Yeah.
frustration. Like, oh man. But listen,
But
it's a
then
bit of
also
a clown shot.
you really got to feel for Leclerc, because obviously it sucks not starting any race, but
Yeah.
your home race, you get pole, everything's going well over the weekend, and then that happens. Arnold, your thoughts on they? So obviously the concern ahead of the race was the gearbox after the crash, and then it turns out they're now saying that it looks like it was one of the drive shafts or something, which I find kind of unbelievable that after a crash like that you don't check the entire car.
Mm.
look, something else to give at Ferrari, because man, the level of lack of accountability, right,
Mm.
is just amazing over the past 6, 7 seasons. Like, there's so many excuses why the car is not good enough, but no one is held liable. No one is held accountable for the amount of money that Ferrari are like investing. They should be at worst competing with Mercedes. Look, Cooks, I was on the golf course as well on Saturday. I checked my phone. I saw, the practice. No, Friday actually, the practice. I saw 1-2. I went on this group chat and I'm like, no, they're selling us hope. They're selling us dreams. I don't like, it was too good to be
You,
true.
you know what I actually thought? I thought, because I didn't watch the second free practice, and I thought, okay, well maybe the Red Bulls and the Mercs maybe they tried something outlandish for the session, and it didn't work out, so Ferrari got lucky, and then they ended up doing well in qualifying as well.
Thing is, like, the frustrating thing is, like, with Ferrari is, like, the car is just slow. So there's so many races that we can be able to qualify to challenge for pole. That's the
Yeah.
frustrating part. So, like, when you get to Monaco and races like, obviously Baku is a street race, and then Singapore as well. That's our time for us to, obviously to try cash in on points. So now we get this, you get that right. Great practice, great qualifiers, and then obviously like Arnold said, the lack of accountability. And there's no one in Ferrari going, okay, we got it wrong. It's just everyone passing the buck. I mean, I remember with Vettel, how many times did you have the fastest car on the grid, but then it's engine failures, it's silly errors, and it's this. So now it's
Bad strategy, bad pit
yeah,
stops.
no, 100%. So it's like with Ferrari, it's like now the car is slow. We've got decent drivers though, because I mean, I think Leclerc and Sainz have driven really well this season compared to what they have. I mean, there's been some races when we like we're in good positions, but then we get in a straight, and then it's like okay, there's nothing Ferrari can do. We're just too slow. But then like now we do everything right. I mean, the drivers do everything right again. One puts it on pole, one gets P2. So it's like who do you blame now? Because the drivers are doing their job. Oh, it's frustrating. Like I don't say it's like as the years go on, the more frustrating it gets. I mean Max cruised through yesterday. He hardly he was racing on his own. Like there was two different races yesterday. The one Max was doing, and the rest and the rest of the field.
No, just look at let's use Red Bull and Mercedes as examples, right? Red Bull have struggled over the past 3, 4 seasons, but Chris Horner still holds people accountable. They will let people go if they're not getting the job right. We easily, I think, we have the best driver pairing on the grid. Like, as a pair, they should be the best team on the grid.
Yeah.
Can't get any results. I'm done with Ferrari and Ferrari. I'm done with abusive relationships. No.
Yeah. It feels a little bit like I'm supporting Arsenal.
Yeah.
Supporting
Well,
Ferrari.
I was thinking the same thing. Like, is this what it feels like to support Arsenal?
Yeah. Well, I did say though, beginning of the season, I told my brother, I was like, listen, I don't have high hopes for Ferrari this year, so I'll support just for this year. I'll support Max Verstappen because I think he's the closest that we're gonna get to someone beating Hamilton, and hopefully next year we'll get the car that they have promised us, and then we can go back to supporting Ferrari again.
But I think but Wally, like what you said, like this year, I came with the same mindset. Like you know what, we're just gonna. I don't think we'll probably come behind McLaren, could come behind the Aston Martins. Like the thing is that they gave us hope. You know what I mean? Like a couple of P4s here and there.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, listen, the car is not that bad. Now, like you sort of like now you start getting sucked back to again. Like, okay, Ferrari, okay, maybe. You know what? If we're rebuilding and we finish third or fourth, I'm like, okay, cool. That's not a bad rebuilding. But then what happens? We qualify P1. You go in the group chat you've made. You're like, Ferrari's back, boys. This is it. And then what happens the next day? Leclerc doesn't start. So you're like, I don't understand. I don't understand why I'm doing this to myself. I don't understand.
Right? Is like that hope that they usually give at the beginning of the seasons. They are P4, P3, a podium here, a podium there. Like, and then as the season goes on, when other teams are improving, Ferrari is getting worse.
Yeah.
Like, it just baffles me. It doesn't make sense.
But also, what's crazy is that so many times it's 100% their own fault that they're getting worse. Okay, they're just shooting themselves in the foot. Like with this weekend. I mean, I'm not an engineer or anything, but to me, if someone smashes a car into a wall, you check that fucking car from top to bottom to see if anything might be compromised. Whereas for them just to say, oh, the gearbox was fine, so this was something else. I mean, to me, it's unacceptable because it's also not. I mean, Leclerc didn't even do a formation lap. He just tried to drive to the starting grid, and the thing broke. So that means that part was so fucking flimsy to start off with. Maybe 10 laps into a race or something, that then I can understand. Monaco is quite a rough track in terms of the road surface and that. But I just feel that they just take the easy route out when fuck ups do happen.
But like Nico Rosberg said, I mean, obviously he said himself, like Ferrari sacrificed that part for pole position. So it's like they knew probably going into the qualifier that part wasn't 100%, because like you said, it didn't break in the race. It broke like you basically didn't start the race. So clearly that part was flimsy and was on his last legs. And Ferrari should have known about that. They're like, listen, let's try to get pole. and then hope for the best. Now you get in a situation, the thing breaks, the race starts in 2 minutes. Like, like, what can you do? And then Farish goes, oh well, what? Oh, next race will go again, and you're like,
it is what it is.
yeah, like it is what it is. I mean, like you got like we go to Baku, then we go back to the quick. Then after Baku, we go back to the quicker tracks. I mean, it worries me. You know what I mean? Like, and it's like then we go back to trying to fight for P4. Yeah, evening Jade, but no, it's frustrating. But listen,
so then speaking of bad luck as well, what the hell must Valtteri Bottas do to get a break? It's
actually be a good driver.
it's starting to get very suspect that every time Hamilton's not on form or Hamilton's got issues, they manage to fuck things up for Bottas.
Bottas, but he's if Toto Wolff wasn't his manager, he wouldn't be at Mercedes.
Yeah, yeah,
No.
He wouldn't be at Mercedes. I don't think he's that good of a driver. He's like an improved version of Grosjean, right? Just fate, but just like I find Bottas one of the most overrated drivers on the grid, easily.
Yeah. The problem is they can't get a better driver because they don't want anyone to be too close to Hamilton.
Mm.
We saw with Nico Rosberg what happens when that's the case, and it doesn't make for a pretty ending.
Yeah,
Nico
I think
Rosberg,
that's it.
weak. Guys, I'm sorry to say this. Nico Rosberg, like even when he comes on to do his commentary, I'm just like, you chickened out. You're supposed to give us a few 4 more seasons of competition.
Nico Rosberg was like, I got my one title and I am out of here. Like I'm not fighting with him. But like you said, like, but I feel bad at times for Bottas because it's like, you know what I mean? Like in that race, in cruise control, and then like the worst possible things or like what can go wrong will go wrong with Bottas, especially when like Hamilton's are doing well. Or, for example, Bottas will be doing well, and it's like,
but it's always when Hamilton's not doing well, then something happens. And I still told Bucky, so I was like, yo, watch how they find a way to fuck things up. I didn't think they'd fuck it up that bad. I thought maybe just like a 10-second pit stop or something, but yeah,
because the thing
obviously
is like,
unlucky, but
yeah, because I felt bad for him because like he was their best hope for points yesterday. Because I mean he had been driving better than Hamilton all weekend. He had been driving really well all weekend. I mean, obviously, I mean Mercedes struggled all weekend long. They weren't great. I mean, obviously, like Hamilton was just like slow, and it's like like those. I mean, Monaco didn't suit Mercedes, and I thought like they weren't good all weekend, but at least Bottas gave them a chance. Because I mean, he looked like a P4, P3. Fighting it out there. And yes, if Mercedes left Bottas like a P3, P4, Hamilton at 8th, I mean, they still leave there with the constructors' lead. Now, I mean, now they've lost the lead now, so it's going to be a massive dogfight with them and Red Bull to see how it goes. I mean, it looks like it's going to be, which is exciting. So,
I think Bottas reminds me of Kimi before he won his title. I think he was partnering with Alonso or Schumacher at Ferrari. I don't remember who the other driver was, but like Kimi just couldn't catch a break. Like even when he would go into races on pole, something would happen to his tire, something would happen to his car. Yeah, and you feel like Bottas, it's the same fate. Maybe it's a finished car or something.
Yeah. And then how crazy was it that it's definitely the first time that I've ever seen that no crashes at Monaco. Only 2 cars out, no yellow flags, no safety car. That was crazy.
I had all my money on Mazepin crashing. All my money. I was waiting for
easy money.
Easy money. But also like I think easy money. I think the real race actually is actually figuring out who's going to finish 19th and 20th between Mazepin and Schumacher. I mean that's the real jewel. But like you said, it's crazy that no one finished. That like I said, there's no crashes. But also, what was really cool, I think with Formula One now, the really really cool thing has been there's so many good drivers and decent teams. Like when you look at, Lando Norris is driving unbelievably well this year. Vettel rolled back many years yesterday. I, I
Yeah,
thought he was. I thought
great
he was
drive.
incredible.
Right.
I thought he was incredible yesterday. I mean, still showing that he can do it, and because obviously he's had issues with his car and all of that. I mean, Raikkonen was good, but I must say though, like someone that's really impressed me this whole season has been Esteban Ocon. I mean, I know he didn't get points yesterday, but he's been really, really him,
Yeah.
Gasly, I mean, like the
And I
quality of
was just gonna
drivers.
say, even Pierre Gasly has also been
Yeah,
doing a great job.
I mean, the quality of drivers they have this year, Formula One, it makes it so riveting because, like I said, like anyone can have a good day. That's why I thought at Monaco, I didn't think like Max would win so easily. I thought, Monaco is a track where someone like Gasly goes and wins it. You know what I mean? Something
Yeah.
happens and someone like Sergio Perez or like Carlos Sainz goes in and wins it. So for like for I mean, the only trouble that Verstappen had was, I mean, half trouble was the start, and then from there it was like basically he basically had a practice run for 78 laps.
I think the other thing is the competition outside the 20 seats. When you look at the drivers coming out of Formula 2, when you look at the reserve drivers just within Formula 1 itself, no one is guaranteed a job for beyond 2 years, right? Apart from
Yeah,
maybe Hamilton and about two other drivers. So there's a hustle for jobs, and I think that's keeping the competition really, really great. I feel
yes,
like this has been the best season. Like you would enjoy a race between number 4 and number 7
yeah,
on the any day. Yeah, you wouldn't mind not watching the top two. In some races where they're just miles ahead of everyone.
yeah,
And I think that's good for the sport as well, being a new
Yeah, I
track.
was just gonna say, I think Formula One really needs that because a lot of people have been getting a little bit sort of bored and fed up with one guy winning the whole time, similar to what happened when Schumacher was winning all his
yeah,
titles. There were also people that sort of stopped watching, but I think, as you said now, Arnold, it's really nice to see that middle order coming to the party, and one thing though is that's been very disappointing for me has been Daniel Ricciardo.
yeah.
Yep,
I mean,
yep,
he got
yep,
lapped yesterday. I mean,
yep.
he got
Yeah, his own teammate lapped him and
his
gave him
own
away.
teammate
And
lapped
I
him.
was like, "Fuck, dude,
Yeah, I
I,
know.
that's
I
And he's
hectic."
been,
think Ricardo should speak to the media less and focus on racing.
less Chewies and more racing.
Like, just
yeah,
race. I don't look the way in which he left Red Bull. The past 2 years have exposed him a lot more that he's not mentally strong enough. He covers up by being the honey badger and whatever he keeps doing, and all these games he keeps playing. He's good for the Formula One show, that Drive to Survive thing, but he's yeah, man. If he doesn't pick it up, he may be out of a car seat within the next 2 seasons.
yeah,
Well,
like you
yeah,
said,
that's the thing. I mean, uh, Norris is making things very difficult for him because Norris is showing that there is something in that McLaren which we all sort of expected this season that they would get better. But you can only I've heard that people are saying, oh, but there's certain things where Ricardo needs to get used to how the team works and things like that. But you can only use that excuse for so long. You can't take a full season to get used to a car, you know?
Not even a
no,
full season. Look, when he was leaving Red Bull, the complaint was it wasn't that he was not a good driver. It was the team was the problem. He goes to Renault, the team is the problem. At McLaren, the team is the like. Come on, how
Yeah.
long? Yeah,
no, I
he
agree
just
with you. Because the thing is, like Wally said, like the problem is like it's not like Norris is coming. Norris is coming. I mean, and Norris has got two. He's got two podiums, if I'm not mistaken, this season, two third places. So, and he's driving really, really well. So it's like, well, the car is quick. And with Ricardo, I mean, the notion was like, well, he's leaving Renault, he's going to a faster car. That
Yeah.
means he's gonna, you know what I mean? Like he's gonna keep pushing. I mean, like if you look at like Sergio Perez, for example, he goes to Red Bull. I mean, he goes from, I mean, he's been fifth place, fourth place. So he's doing his part. You know what I mean? Like looking at the part and
Mm.
first day he was driving the day, first race. So he steps up and it's like with like Daniels, like Ricardo, like I mean, he's getting overlapped. I mean, like how do you get lapped? Like even by your own teammate, by your own car. So it's like I mean, like Ferrari. I mean, I'm sure like I'm sure McLaren, when they got him, in their mind, they were like, every weekend we want to be guaranteed points from two of our drivers, not just one driver, Norris, and the rest, the
Yeah,
other one is making up the
especially
field.
especially the younger driver. Like in my mind, uh, Ricardo should have gone there to be number one driver because he's got the experience and everything.
Yeah,
Um, and it's been the complete opposite.
you think
I,
so? Yeah.
yeah, and the other thing which I think Ricardo doesn't have going for him is the age factor, right? He's like in no man's land when it comes to the age factor. He's not anywhere close to the older guys in, Hamilton and Kimi. And then there's this whole cream of younger guys
Mm.
coming,
Mm.
right? So many teams looking, when you look at Leclerc, uh, you look at Max. If you want to compete, if you want McLaren and want to go back to the glory days, you're going to go younger, yeah, and that doesn't put him in any position.
Yeah,
And the thing is, like you said, like it's not like it's. I mean, like look at like Alex Albon, for example, can't get in the car. I
Yep.
mean, like it's. I mean, like you look at. I mean, there's guys of like Ocon and Gasly, and I mean, like I'm sure like Gasly's got like is like the next man up to get a promotion to a better side. I mean, he's been driving unbelievably well, and Ocon. All these guys are just waiting. All these guys are waiting for an opportunity, or you might have Lance Stroll's dad buying another team, so he's signing a promotion. So,
well,
I mean,
you might even find that maybe it's worth their shot to go. Okay, Norris is doing well, so maybe give someone like Schumacher a seat in an actual
yeah,
car,
no, hundred
um,
percent. So like, or
and
like
see what he
Right.
can
or
do.
the Japanese one. What's his name? Is it
Sonda,
So he's also a decent driver. So like the level
yeah,
of driving, like Arnold said, like with Ricardo, he is a good driver. I think so. He is a good driver. So like, but in my estimate, like you'd think last year, if McLaren they're saying, geez, you just lost Carlos Sainz, but if you get Daniel Ricciardo, I mean he's won races, multiple races. So we put him in a very good car. He comes as almost as our number one, but now he comes here and it's Norris that's the one that's being. Because I mean, like for me now, if you look back at like Daniel Ricciardo is almost back at Red Bull, where Red Bull was like almost obviously pushing Max through. Now McLaren will be like, listen, we're gonna keep pushing Norris through because you're not delivering the goods here.
yeah, 100%. And you can't tell me that. Like I know, obviously, cars are set up differently for each driver, and that it's never going to be the exact same car and the exact same sort of performance and everything. But you can't tell me that car is so much different
Yeah,
from what Norris is being given, um, for you to justify him fucking lapping you.
no, 100%.
Like that's just crazy.
Yeah. The other thing is, does Daniel come with a lot of money backing? Because that
I'm
would
sure
be
he
the,
does.
yeah, you know,
Look,
uh,
he's
with so many.
definitely marketable. He's one of the most
Mm.
marketable guys. Um, obviously because of his, he's a funny guy and he's the media love him and all of that. So I'm sure that also plays a role.
No, 100%.
Because
But
But
like
I
the
don't
next,
think.
they're going to be like two Asian drivers on the grid.
mm,
The sport is they need to tap into that market.
yeah,
Mm,
they definitely. Will. But I must say, can I ask a question, guys? So, honestly, what you guys take is I was thinking about this today. Obviously, with the rules and the regulations changing next year in terms of engine, do you think Red Bull has almost gone, okay, this could be our best chance to win it now? So we're gonna put quite a bit of work into the car this year, and then we'll see what happens next year. Because I feel like Red Bull are in a we have to win now. I mean, obviously they've been pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing for the last couple of years and going in and out. I think they're in a situation that we have to win now. It's almost like desperate because
mm,
it's just like if you look at their car, they just feel so much quicker than everyone else. I mean, like you've seen this times, they just like look so much quicker, and it just feels like they've gone. Listen, we're gonna put almost all our eggs in one basket for this year, and then we'll see where we go next year. But let's hopefully go into next year as a champion. Because my thing is that I don't know what happens if I'm Red Bull, for example, and they don't win this year. Someone like Christian Horner, he could be under pressure because it's like we haven't won for years now. Well,
mm.
I don't know what do you guys think?
Uh, I don't know. I don't think any car on the grid is under more pressure from ownership than the Red Bulls. Like every season, you can tell Christian Horner is under lots of pressure because Ferrari really you don't feel like there's pressure there. Toto Wolff should be the most secure person in
Yeah.
a job.
Yeah.
Every time you see him speak in the interviews, he is under enormous pressure to perform, uh, to have the brand out there, and it's like every year he just gives it his best.
Mm.
And if he
Yeah.
has the fun, he will go for it. Plus, like the engine deal that they recently signed. I think you saw the fallout he had with Renault and how public that was.
Yeah.
You can tell he's a very emotional person. He's a very competitive individual, so he will always give it his best.
Yeah, I agree. I think he is always under pressure, and I think it's definitely building now because, like Cook said, they haven't been, winning the last 3 or 4 years, and I think they had the whole project with Vettel that was
Mm.
obviously very successful, and then Max was supposed to be the next
Yeah.
project, and you can only, like, obviously the first couple of years you can go, okay, we are in a bit of a learning curve with Max and he's still young and all of that, but now I do agree, I think it's definitely time for them to step up. But having said that, I think they would definitely still be, they've got the funds, in my opinion, to focus on, to have built a winning car this year, and most probably a winning car, at least a very
Mm.
competitive car for next year. Which is again something that you would expect from someone like Ferrari,
Yeah.
and they've just gone and said, you know what, fuck this, we're writing off 2 seasons.
Yeah.
Um, it is what it is, and then next year we'll give you a competitive car. But then with their track record over the last couple of years, you
Yeah.
don't even know if that's going to materialize.
Yeah.
So it's a bit of a dog show.
No, 100%.
Uh,
I
so
think that.
uh,
Please. No, go on, Cooks.
no,
No, I
sorry,
said
I
no,
was going to
100%.
move on to the football, but if you want to add something else, then you can
No,
fly.
let's move on to
No,
the
no, no.
mighty. Well,
I've said my
please.
say. It's time. It's time to listen. It's time
I've,
to hear Arnold gloat now.
I've never seen a man so excited about finishing third on the final day.
Especially when you've had a whole squad out the whole season. You know, like I don't know how Chelsea would play. Who's Chelsea's best player at the moment, if they have any?
If we have any. Mason Mount, Mason Mount just won Player of the Year, so
But yeah, so you probably.
yeah.
He wouldn't get the Liverpool starting 11, so no. Um, like Bruno Fernandes, if United lost Bruno for a whole season, where will they finish?
No, it's true.
We'll have to go look at the penalty count. No, look,
Yeah.
I do agree with you, Arnold. I know you guys have like I always say that you can't. So a good example is actually this weekend. We in our hockey game we missed probably our best player. And after the game, Oaks was saying, "Yeah, but if Jack had played, we probably could have done. Probably could have won and whatever. It was a 1-1 draw." And I told them, I was like, "Listen, we can't. You can't play sport that way. You can't
Mm.
rely on one guy because he might get sick, he might get injured, he might not be able to play or whatever." But you guys definitely had quite a bit more than just one guy.
Yeah.
I don't think they like. I really think we could have defended our title if Virgil was out, but we still had Gomez, Matip, because the lack of Fabinho in our midfield really affected our attack all
Mm.
season, right?
Yeah.
Because he's a guy that could break up play, and he has that one pass that could split, and it would allow Thiago to settle in with less pressure. Yeah, but finishing third, I was first of all amazed. Klopp is a genius, best coach in the league. Um, uh, but I'm looking forward to next season. I'm so happy we're not playing Europa. Thursday nights for campus nights. No. Yeah, and I really wanted Chelsea to finish fifth. Like Ryan, I really wanted you guys to finish fifth.
Of course you did, of course. But what everyone seems to forget, and I got so annoyed actually while watching the game, is because obviously the commentators need to hype it up for for entertainment purposes. But every time Leicester were when they took the lead and we were fifth, um, they're going on like it's done for us. There's no way we're coming back. We're 2-0 down and whatever. And I'm like, guys, at least mention the fact that we can still get Champions League if we win on Saturday. Like
Fair.
it's not completely done. I'm very happy that we don't have that pressure on our back for Saturday, because I don't think you need that extra. Maybe sometimes it's a good thing. It just depends. But for one young squad like ours, I think it's more important that we can now just focus on winning the Champions League instead of qualifying for the Champions League on top of that.
Yeah, 100%. I think that was my sentiment. I mean, obviously, like, geez, we always it's for me. I'm a little frustrated because I feel like if you look at the in league wise, I feel like finishing fourth again, you've sort of gone backwards a little bit in terms of league form. Obviously, we know we lost Frank Lampard and True came in, but like at least not finishing third would have been an upgrade, would have been an improvement from last season. At least when you finish third, but then it's like I said, like we had said, like if you don't take your chances, you're not going to win games, and that's come to bite us. And we've had silly, stupid losses, like the 1-0 loss to Arsenal, the 5-2 against West Brom. I mean, like the 3-0, the 3 West Brom being up 3-0 at half time, and we come back, and it's like it's frustrating losses like that. I mean, but yeah, I mean, I still can't believe Leicester choked again. I genuinely do not think they would have choked 2 years in a row. I mean, for them, obviously, I mean, they got the FA Cup, but I mean, yeah, I mean, and thank you, Spurs. But like,
yeah, I really feel for Leicester
Rodgers
because.
DNA.
Sorry, what is that?
Brendan Rodgers' DNA keeps choking when it really matters.
I see
really
Arnold still thinking about the Crystal Palace night, the 3-0 night.
Like I have PTSD from Brendan Rodgers' time at Liverpool. He sold us dreams.
I really feel for Leicester because they've obviously done very well this season, and I think that Champions League spot would have done two things. It would have firstly give you a bit more cash to spend, but secondly also it gives you a bit more drawing power in terms of the type of players you can buy. And I think they're not far off. Like we saw when they won the league, it was a little bit sad to see how many players ended up leaving
Yeah.
for obvious reasons, because now obviously they don't have the budget that other teams do. But maybe now they're in a position, or they could have been in a position, where now you can spend a bit of your own money and can attract a couple of sort of bigger name players and maybe build the club that way into becoming sort of more established in the top six. And I think now it's going to obviously be a bit more difficult for them.
100%. I think with them, for me, I think my frustration for them is the fact that they've both in both seasons, like last season and this season, they've been in pole position to finish in the top 4. So it's not like they've been fifth and fighting. I mean, last year they were third, going into lockdown, they were third and cruising at third. They were about 10 points clear of sides fighting for fourth. Like, and somehow they just fall apart. Obviously, injuries and things like that. And this year as well, they keep fighting and get themselves the position because. I know Arnold, obviously Brendan Rodgers is in his DNA, but he is a good manager. But I mean, and I think for someone like him, like, and what he's done at Leicester, you get yourself in the top 4. I mean, like, they're showing more consistency than other big clubs. So yeah, I mean, I do feel for them, but I mean, like I said, also I got like, you know what, you put yourself. It's 2 seasons in a row you've been in this position. You have to get the job done eventually. I mean, you're playing in Spurs. I mean, I think they're playing at home. Yeah, I mean, like, you're not. I mean, you're up 2-1. And you end up losing that game. So it's like it's hard for me to be like, oh well, you end up losing 4-2. So it's hard to feel too bad for them. But it's like, Jesus, and it's like I do feel bad. Like, I mean, I feel bad in terms of like for their fans and all of that. But you put yourself in a position to come third 2 years in a row, you got to get the job done. I mean, that's that's the difference between the good sides and the great sides, like Liverpool. Like if you look at Liverpool, I mean, they managed to win 26 points out of 34. You can't fault it. I mean, that's how you run in the last day of the season, the last couple of
If
weeks
you
of the season.
right with how good they've been with managing that club,
Yeah,
you are left with a hard decision, right? It's like you're between a rock and a hard place. Rogers has won FA Cup, but he has finished. He has bottled it again. Do you go Nuno Flores? Do you look elsewhere? Do you give him another season and see if he can creep into the top four? Is he overachieving by finishing fifth?
I think you got to keep him because I think he's doing a great
Yeah,
job. Because I mean, if you look
I
at
think he's overachieving.
yeah, because I mean, if you look at what he's done, I mean, Leicester obviously they won the league, and then they were a ninth
Hey,
place,
yeah.
eighth place team. I mean, he's got them in a position where they've gone head to head with the big sides in the champions in the for Champions League spots, and obviously, it's just the ending that's where they've gone wrong. It's the finishing where it's gone wrong. Because I think he has overachieved and showed what he can do with that side, and I think so. I think he's definitely worth. I mean, I think someone like Nuno. I think someone like Bruno would be good at Spurs or Arsenal. I think obviously that would be obviously like Arsenal are in the Arteta project. I think Spurs are probably his most likely destination. But yeah, I mean, I think with Leicester, if I was even I was Spurs, I'd even go and have a look at Brendan Rodgers. And but like I think he's overachieved, and yeah, I think you definitely gotta give him another season.
Yeah,
That,
100%. I would also give him another season, and maybe see how it goes. You tell him, listen, you need to be after 10 games into the season. You need to be in the top four or whatever. And then if you can't achieve that, then maybe look at. But then also you got to look at what are they going to do in the market? Are
Mm.
they going to try and push and actually give him a team to actual top four team? Because I don't think they are the top four team um, on paper. Or if they're just going to give him what he's got, then it's going to be a difficult job.
what
There's-
does what
there's-
does it say about Arsenal?
you mean the thing is the thing is like, but like before I go to Arsenal, like, the thing was like what these sides also forget. Sometimes it's like you fire someone and you go, okay, we Rogers has gotten us fifth twice. You know what? Let's get maybe we need someone else in, and then you fire him and you get a new manager, and then you go back to bring eighth, 10th, or even 12th. So it's like the in that scope. Sometimes it's like be careful what you wish for. Sometimes you have a good thing in Rogers, so push through it. I mean, he's been there for two full seasons, and he's got them to two fifth back to Europa League. I mean, like so. My thing, if I I think with Leicester, if you ask the owners, listen, for the next 2 years, you're gonna finish fifth in the Premier League. Are you happy with it? I think they'll take it. I mean, obviously, like I think they'll take it. I mean, like I know they won the league a couple of years ago, but like they're not. I mean, like look at the top four. I mean, each of the sides you mean should be in the top four. I mean, like, and I mean Arsenal. I feel like it's the most irrelevant Arsenal season we've had in a long time. I mean, obviously they beat us twice, which hurts. Like but like we are, but as Chelsea, we struggle against small teams anyway. So but but like with Arsenal, like it's like the most they're just there. It makes sense. Like they were just there this season. They weren't like at not one stage they looked like a threat, or like they were just like
Yeah.
there
Where
and
did
like
they end up? Where did they end up? Like
eighth.
ninth or
No, they
eighth?
ended up
Okay.
eighth. But like with
Nice.
that, but it's like with them,
So,
like I don't even like what worries me with Arsenal is like I don't even know what like it's not like they finish eighth and you're like, okay, cool, they've got this all the like Monaco got Saka, but like oh they're playing this really nice football. So like if they get one or two pieces, now you're like I feel like they need like 10 new players. Keep a
But
Aubameyang and or
but also
nine.
keep in mind if top four is like a trophy to them, then eighth spot is just as good as second. So maybe they have to.
whoa. But doesn't it speak of the genius of Wenger at the time he was there?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I definitely think so. But also I think they're better players though. I mean like I just think the players
Hello.
I think we lost Cooks for a bit there.
Yeah, looks like it.
Yeah.
Well, before he gets back, let's. I'll show you this top chirp from Jade. So Jade, in Arnold's defense, we haven't invited him back yet, except for last week when we had to cancel, unfortunately. But yeah, I'm sure Arnold is happy to be back at this time.
I wouldn't have accepted, I think, those other times. But Jed, I'm going to say something that Jed may find blasphemous, right? I
Oh,
think,
sorry, guys. I lost you there for a bit.
yeah,
All
I
good.
think United finishing second is the best lie out there. Like,
Yeah, I hope Jade is ready for this. I can like,
like
Yeah,
that team is so mediocre. Like, I've watched United games and I'm like, how is this guys even second? Like, I don't know how they win games, but it's good for us that they finish second because it lies to them that they actually can compete next year. When everyone is healthy, then reality is going to set in. Like,
yeah.
that should.
I do agree with you, but I'll stand up for them a little bit, which I don't generally want to do. But um, Alex Ferguson always said that if you can win with, or sign of a good side is if you can win football even when you're playing bad.
mm,
Um, so, but also in that breath, I think I thought about it the other day. It feels to me like this was more sort of, if you look at the top four, it was more the top fours. Well, the second to fourth. It was more their season to lose rather than anything else. Because if you look at Man City this season, and I'm not saying that they don't deserve to be champions because they obviously do, but it hasn't been their best season by a long shot.
mm,
Um, they haven't amassed a huge amount of points like they usually do. They started off very badly in the beginning of the season, and I really feel like um, the other three teams in the top four can almost kick themselves for almost like rolling over in a way, and making it a lot easier for them than what it could have been.
I don't know. Before Coach jumps in, Ryan, I want to disagree with you there because I think Man City winning this season is testament or a reflection of how much money they have as a team and how deep their squad is. We may look at the situation in France with PSG and Lille, but look at the amount of injuries and lack of replacements everyone around Man City has
mm,
had, right?
Hmm.
Man City's
mm,
third best creative midfielder is Bernardo Silva, and he would be the best creative midfielder at any of the other teams.
mm,
Yeah,
Yeah,
like those. That's a result of deep pockets. Yeah, it's they will lose a goal. Look at their second choice goalkeeper, right? He would be a
mm,
first choice keeper at most clubs.
yeah,
So City winning this season to me was no surprise. This should have been the season for an underdog, you know, someone like Leicester, West Ham to be competitive, like it has happened in every other league apart
mm,
from the Premier League. Because
mm,
you have the Italian Serie A, whereby the richest club there, had to get into the Champions League spots on the last day. Inter Milan, you wouldn't have given it to Inter Milan at the beginning of the season. You wouldn't have given it to Simeone's Atletico Madrid at the beginning of the season, or Lille in France. Apart from Germany, where it's the title should be given to Bayern Munich at the beginning of every season.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
but I mean, yeah, I think for
go ahead.
me, I mean, like I'll say, like especially like I mean, starting with Man United, I think I definitely think Man United not throw away, but I mean had massive chances to win the Premier League season this year. And I think they'll be kicking themselves because I think they'll be when they were leading.
When I get back,
The Kings game as I'm about to half praise Man United.
Yeah,
hello, gentlemen.
good
Hey
timing.
Kings.
I heard someone talking about Man United, so I decided to join the show quickly.
Yeah, I was just about I was just about to tell you why you should be drinking even more beer at this moment.
What? Okay.
No,
Okay.
I was saying like,
How
if you
about
look
you
at the
guys just win the game and then Leicester just win a game and then we don't have to have Arnold in his Liverpool shirt on the show.
no, 100%. That's our fault. But I mean, like
I'm
I was
gonna
saying,
I'm gonna love and leave you folks, but I just had to pop in.
Cheers,
All right,
Kings.
cheers, dude.
I enjoy the
Enjoy.
chat.
Kings,
Cheers, mate.
Kings, United is still going to be trash next season, and I don't know. I don't see any quality player going to United.
Okay, well, you guys might not. I'm sorry, but how does the worst Premiership champions have a spot to say? You're going to talk about United when you were the worst Premiership champions we've seen.
Technically, that was Leicester.
In over 7 years, that I only finished 5 points behind you, and I had 10 players injured all year.
Yeah, but you're still crying about. You first cried about us playing a weakened team against Leicester, and then you're still crying about Virgil van Dijk being injured. I mean, come on, man. You guys need to grow a little bit of a backbone.
I gave you my 6th choice centre back pairing, and I still beat you.
You know what? We couldn't win the league by then, so it didn't matter. We only win games that matter.
Listen, Kings, enjoy your beer. I'll see you next season.
Here's a beer for you guys. And that I'm with another sapper over there.
What's up, mate?
And that is Thunder. Yes, that is Thunder. Cheers, lads. I'll catch you later.
Cheers,
Cheers.
dude. Sorry, Cooks, you were saying there before the drunkard interrupted us?
Yeah. No, I was saying with United, like, because like what you said, like Ryan, like I said, if you look at the league this year, each side had their chances to win it. I mean, each side pretty much got in its own way. I mean, United at the stage when they're leading, I mean, they'd lost to Sheffield. Oli obviously parked the bus against Liverpool and they drew 0-0. Same thing against Arsenal. I mean, there's points there and I thought, geez, like you're going to Anfield. Liverpool at that stage had forgotten how to play soccer at Anfield. Like Arsenal were there for the taking. And you go there and you park the bus and take a 0-0. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, oh man, like it's an opportunity. Then you go lose to Sheffield. I'm like, it's an opportunity there.
Oh, don't know what's going on with these connections.
I'm definitely down with Cook's point. I think Liverpool was there for the beating during that whole run. Anyone could have taken points at Anfield, and like it felt like it also feels like United were not hungry enough, and there's a mental age that is not yet at United. You see, Liverpool, we would not have gotten there had we not gotten Alisson and Van Dijk those past 2 seasons. And it's like when they came to the club, they were thinking different. They were playing with a different mental age compared to everyone else. You don't feel like United have a player with that same caliber. And I think that's also the missing piece at Chelsea. You know, you have so many players who are like above average, but there's just that one piece that's missing that doesn't definitely have to be the best player there, but he has to be
mentally, yeah. I
yeah,
get what we need someone that's got a bit of dog in him that's gonna, you know, like when we're not performing and whatever, that's gonna cuck the Oaks out and get them rallied up to get that winner and not just sit back for a draw or, you know, 1-0 down or whatever.
Hi, fellas. Sorry, the Wi-Fi here is horrendous.
I thought it was Escom again.
No.
So, Cooks, we're just talking about the missing piece of like a team like United and Chelsea being mentally strong person, right? You have so many good players above average, but you don't see that person who everyone can look up to and say, he is my leader, he is the leader of the team, and I will follow with it. Like if N'Golo Kante could speak, maybe he could be the leader in that team, but he hardly says anything. So you feel like what's missing at these two teams, United and Chelsea, is a leader, you know, an Alisson, a Van Dijk.
We lost Cooks again.
I think with Chelsea, I think I think with Chelsea is like we are a very young side. I think people tend to forget that. I mean, we only have we got how many 20-year-olds and 21-year-olds are in our side. So obviously, I feel like that's something I will learn. And I think also, I just think we are missing a bit of quality up front. The same thing with United. I think they're also missing a little bit more of a bit of quality. I think they only have that in Pogba and Bruno and a few players. Whereas, like, you know, Man City, the quality comes from Foden, Mahrez, and De Bruyne, and their quality comes in waves. Where at Chelsea and Man City, it's like Man United, I think we're missing just a slight little bit of quality here and there. Like especially, I think for Chelsea up front. If half the Werner goals that he's missed and chances must go in, we're probably fighting for the title. But it's like, unfortunately, like we need a striker to put that away. If you look at United, I know how happy they are to sign Edinson Cavani, but if they get Harry Kane playing, for example, and he gets in 30 league goals, they win the league title this year. So with them, it's instead of having a Daniel James in the right wing, imagine having instead of Daniel James, you have Jadon Sancho or a Jack Grealish there. That changes things. It's a completely different side. Whereas I think, like you said, obviously do need a bit of leadership. I think and I agree with you that. And I think at Chelsea, I think it's Thiago Silva was that factor.
Oh yeah,
but
yep.
And I think I just want to see where we go. If you get Liverpool, for example, like as bad as Jokes were, you still have as bad as Mane was, you still have Salah. Salah comes in, he's the second highest goal scorer. That's the quality that pulls you through in the last 10 weeks. The Firminos and so it's like for us, I think if you look at Man City, there's a stage when they fell apart, but they won 17 games in a row, and they've got Gundogan, who basically was the best player in the world for about a month and a half, and he carries them through. That's the sort of quality they have, and then they can afford to bring De Bruyne back, and then Gundogan plays a deeper role. Sterling has had one of his worst seasons in a long time, but it's fine because Phil Foden comes through in the system and Mahrez chips in here and there. They won the league title this year, and Aguero hasn't been much of a feature. They've hardly played a striker. At a stage, Ferran Torres was scoring hat-tricks for fun. He didn't play for weeks. John Stones came back from the dead. So it's like I just think like Chelsea and United are just missing that slight bit of quality that I don't think they need to splash too much money, but I think they need to go out and spend on two big players each side. I think Chelsea we need to go and buy a proper striker. I think Man United, if I'm Man United, I'm going to go get Harry Kane. I'm doing everything in my power to get Harry Kane, because if Harry Kane goes to Man City, then let's might as well wrap right off next season and let's get ready let's talk about 2022, 2023.
Yeah, then you start to sound like Ferrari.
Yeah. Well, unless Liverpool can get Mbappe as they want.
Yep. Come on, Ryan. Yes.
Arnold, while we're on that point, before we start wrapping up, obviously Liverpool's had a long season and it's been difficult with the injuries and all of that. But what do you guys need to do, in your opinion, to really challenge and possibly win the title next year?
Buy a striker, buy a centre back. We need to have depth at centre back, quality centre back. We definitely need a striker, because you could tell this season that at one point mentally Mane and Firmino were fatigued. They've played too much football over the past 3-4 seasons, and you need that freshness, and that's why Diego Jota coming in good for the team. But I also think, like, I've called Klopp a genius before, but I think that run in which we lost about 6 out of 8 games, Klopp was largely to blame, because he was stubborn with the systems. He wasn't trying out new things. He finally figured out, the system to play. Again, forcing Fabiano to play centre back when we really needed him in the midfield, and instead of giving the young boys a run at centre back, I think even that factor came in. So for Liverpool to be competitive next season, a striker is definite, a world-class striker at that. And then a centre back, a quality centre back. We're looking at the boy in Germany, from Leipzig.
Mm-hmm.
I'm forgetting his name, but I think he will be a good addition. He also doesn't seem to have a good injury record, but if you have 4 centre backs who are all injured 90% of the time, you need to bring in at least 2 quality centre backs and then 1 quality striker. Quality striker is badly needed.
Do you think there's any chance of you landing someone like Harry Kane or Haaland, maybe?
Ooh, that would be a dream to get a Haaland. That would be a dream. I think Liverpool can spend the money to get Haaland. Mbappe wouldn't also say no to a team like Liverpool. You know who they want to play, at Anfield. Um, but again, our recruiting policy has seems to differ. We may look to Portugal, get the boy from Porto, or even Italy. Uh, yeah, but I trust we'll recruit a quality striker. We really need to get a quality striker.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, that's the same boat that I think, like Cook said, Chelsea is definitely. And my problem is I'm struggling with between do we need a quality striker or do we need Werner and Co to just play up to where we've seen them play and how we've seen them play before Chelsea. And I think that's a bit of a tricky one at the moment for Chelsea because obviously, firstly, we've now spent a lot of money on revamping our attack. So now you got to decide: are we taking a loss potentially on someone like Werner if we try and flip him on? Do we let him play second fiddle to someone new coming in, or do we keep him and hope he comes right? Then you got Tammy Abraham, who's seemingly being pushed out almost by Tuchel because I think he's played like 17 minutes or something crazy under Tuchel, um, and he's also got a lot of potential in my opinion.
Uh, I don't know what is it with Chelsea. Tammy Abrahams has reached his peak. He's like another Danny Welbeck, Sean Wright Phillips kind of player. He has hit his peak, and you can tell, and that's the kind of player he's going to be for the next 7, 8 seasons. So he's not a player to be at Chelsea.
Mm.
Vanna is really confusing because when you watch him play, he is world class. He's just so
He's so
unlucky,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Well, that's the thing. That's why I'm so confused about him because I'm thinking surely you can't have this type of luck forever. If he's
But
not offside with a goal, then someone else is offside, and it's just crazy.
Fernando Torres had something similar at Chelsea. He was making the runs, creating the chances, and he just couldn't score goals, right?
Yeah,
So there's also that history when you look at Fernando Torres and you're like, okay, will Vanna be another Fernando Torres? But hopeful. I still feel like Vanna would have been a great addition for Liverpool if he's available to be sold. I will go
mm,
for him. Yeah, he makes amazing runs. He creates space for other players. I think he's poorly coached, right? I think he's really poorly coached in terms of how many times he is offside. Because he keeps making the same run that gets him offside, and that's down to coaching. What happens on
mm.
the training ground.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, so someone needs to take that responsibility and actually coach him.
yeah. I agree with that, and also, yeah, it's. I wonder if they maybe just don't have proper striking coaches, or if it's a Tuchel thing, or what. Because you look at Tuchel and you go, you can see he's a good coach because he's turned us around dramatically, and in every aspect we've become way better than what we were. Defensively, our midfield's rock solid. We're making the chances, but the only thing that we're not doing is finishing. And it's not just Werner. He gets a lot of slack for it because he's obviously the main guy. Um, but even Mason Mount hasn't been as on target um, as we know him to be. It feels like he's getting more chances, but he's not as on target as he used to be. Um, so it's true what you say. I think it could be a coaching thing, and almost sometimes feel like they play like Bafana in front of goals.
Off. No, don't get me started with Bafana. But I really feel like Chelsea are one piece away, and I don't know where that piece is, either in striking or midfield. But you just feel like Chelsea is one piece away from being a contender for the league next season.
Yeah, no, I agree with that, and like you said, whether that's in the midfield or up front, but it needs to be someone that's going to make a difference between the amount of goals that get scored. Whether
Yep.
that be someone who's actually scoring them, or someone that maybe is a little bit quicker to see when Werner wants to go and give it to him a little bit quicker before he he crosses the offside line.
I think if Vanna played with someone like Fabregas, it would be a dream for him.
Oh, that would be amazing.
Yeah, Fabregas in
One can
that
only dream.
the Fabregas in that Chelsea team with Vanna as his striker, ooh, assist record would be broken.
Yeah,
But
I remember when and obviously Andre Schürrle didn't play. He never made a huge impact with us, but he played a lot like Werner does, and him and Fabregas, when they did play together, they made a lot of magic together.
uh, that's a great point. Andre Schürrle, well, is he still playing football? Last I
Oof,
had him at
I don't
Bremen.
know.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's the last I heard. Uh, he still toured to Cape Town with him a couple of years ago, but I don't. I'd be surprised if he still plays.
talking about tours, you guys talked about the Lions tour recently. What are our chances?
You
I know, Ryan.
you
You're not a
you're
rugby
asking the wrong guy because I don't know
guy.
much about rugby,
Uh,
but
yeah,
from what they were speaking about, it seems we got a fairly decent chance. It sounds like the Lions team might not be as strong as it possibly could be. Um, so yeah, I think most of them were going for 2-1 series win for the Springboks.
I, I should jump onto a chat on the Lions tour and the squads, one of these days. Uh, but coming back to the football, next season, I think next season will be the most competitive Premier League season that we've seen in a very long time,
Yeah,
because all teams are going in. You know, they all seem to be at the same pace, apart from Man City, which seems to have to be a class apart. But it's not so far off. Like it's not so far off, like from previous seasons where it was just Man City and Liverpool, and you could tell there was a big gulf in class.
yeah,
You have a really growing Chelsea. You have a decent United side. Man City, of course, Liverpool. Um, Spurs not there yet. Arsenal, Spurs, Leicester, West Ham will compete somewhere there. West Ham may drop out. Just like Wolves, those are the kind of teams.
yeah. Those type of teams usually do struggle to keep up, um, sort of in 2 consecutive seasons.
And just imagine Grealish at Liverpool.
Well, he's there. He's gonna have to leave, sometime soon. Um, the problem is it's gonna be difficult because not a lot of clubs have a lot of money at the moment,
Yeah.
and West Ham are gonna obviously want to cash in on him. So it's gonna be difficult, I think, to get him out of there. Um, but yeah, I do agree with you. I think all the teams are 1 or 2 players away from being quite a bit better than they were this year. Um, and I think what's also going to help a lot is that we'll have a more normal season in terms of time between games and that. So it won't be, because it will be a normal length season. It won't be so squashed in with basically 3 games a week. I think that's going to help a lot of teams as well.
So Champions League this weekend. I think before we wrap up.
Yeah,
Uh,
I was just gonna move on to that for a wrap up.
yeah. Look, I don't like to see you happy and Chelsea, but yeah, anyone but Man City. Anyone but Man
Yeah,
City.
yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
it's
obviously, I feel the same. Um, the only thing that does worry me a little bit is we've it's sort of a double-edged sword in a way, where we've now beaten them twice fairly recently.
yep.
Um, so that could either go one way, which is we've now sort of got the blueprint, we know what we need to do, just go out and do it again. But then on the other flip of the coin, they are going to want to beat us even more, uh, after losing to us twice. So I think it's going to be, I think we can beat them, but we're not going to beat them if we are as wasteful with our chances as we have been almost since Tuchel took over. In fact, we've been super wasteful.
I think it's going to be a 2-1 win for Chelsea. Timo
That,
Werner on it. All it will end up going to pens, but I see a win for Chelsea. I just feel like when Chelsea's playing Man City, this group of Chelsea players has a mental edge over Man City, and City are too arrogant to notice a team that has a mental edge on them,
mm,
right? And that comes from their coaching, right? Guardiola is not going to change style. He's not going to switch up anything. He's just going to set them up the way we know them to be set up, and they're going to try and
yeah,
play the same way, right?
yeah,
And you know, I don't see anyone outside KDB uh, having a mental edge over anyone else at Chelsea in the same position, right? N'Golo Kante is going to be fit, like he's world class. He's the best midfielder in this
yeah,
position, right? And players like N'Golo Kante live for such matches. They live for these one-offs, right?
yeah.
They're born to play.
He's
They are
he's
winners.
he's shown it. He's shown it. I mean, every single big game he's played, he's been superb. The one other concern that I do have as well is with Mendy, who got injured over the weekend. Um, I did see an interview with Tuchel today saying they'll be back at training on Wednesday. So he's obviously hoping. He's saying it's not as serious as they originally thought, but they're going to monitor that. And I think, yeah, I think Mendy at the back makes a big difference, not only because he's a good shot stopper, but I think it also gives your team an extra bit of confidence
Yeah.
compared to having Kepa at the back.
I think the goalkeeper for Chelsea that day is what will be the difference for Chelsea to win the title.
Yeah,
If you have Mendy at the back, you are winning this title. If you don't have Mendy at the back, then yeah, it will be a hard one. With Man City, I think you're going to hit them on the counter. Timo Werner's pace is going to is going to be they won't know how to play Timo Werner's pace because I don't see anyone at Man City able to defend Timo Werner.
mm.
Yeah, and
just
this
just keep him on side, and you win the game.
yeah, but this game is set up perfectly for Timo Werner. It just reminds me of um the game at the Camp Nou between Chelsea and Barcelona, the title winning season. That game was set up perfectly for Fernando Torres. Perfectly.
Yeah, yeah. But
And
it's also because we're so good at especially under Tuchel now, we're so good at absorbing pressure. Like if you
yep,
look at the Real Madrid games, I mean, we had the second game we had 32% possession, but if you actually watch the game, we controlled the entire game because we're so good at controlling the game without the ball,
yep.
and we keep them fairly close to our goal box, but not inside the box, and that then opens it up for someone like Werner. Quick counter, boom, there you go,
And then
and that's
you have a Thiago Silva who can play that ball over the top, right? It's world class defender. He
mm,
has such a mental edge. He's meant to be the kind of player for this final, and I think Thiago Silva will also be a big difference. When you look at Man City, you don't see them with that type of player to win them a Champions League outside, the KDB.
mm,
And I think that will be a big factor because with Chelsea, I'm seeing about 2, 3 players who are born for this stage.
yeah. I think
Yeah,
I think Thiago Silva makes a huge difference, especially because he almost had one hand on the trophy last year. Tuchel obviously would want to win it as well because he couldn't get it last year. I think someone like Mason Mount would come out and really perform in a game like this, because if he if he wins the Champions League so early in his career, then you start looking at greatness for academy player, and he's seen us win it. He's seen certain players like Lampard and Terry and then become serial winners at the club, and I
yeah.
think this goes a long way into grooming him into that serial winner where you can change people around him and whatever, but he'll have the mentality to keep the ship on track going forward.
Look, what's your prediction?
I was also going to go 2-1 for Chelsea.
2-1. I
Yeah.
I really think it's going to be a 2-1. Yeah, and best of luck to you. I just anyone but Man City.
All right.
Evil.
Well, thank you for that, and thanks for joining us tonight. I did get a message from Cooks saying that his power went off,
I
so
told
he
you,
couldn't get
Escom.
back on. Yeah, and yeah, let's see how it goes this Sunday, and this Saturday, and then maybe we'll have a catch up again next week, Monday.
Therefore, man. Nice catching up, Ryan. What you guys supposed to add me to the other group chat?
Have a good one. Yes, I'll add you.
Please. All right, cheers, mate.
Cool.
Take care.
Cheers. Have a good one. Cheers, everyone. Bye bye.